I'm Mark Chapman. I have Duchenne muscular dystrophy, which is a progressive muscle wasting condition. Over the years, me and my family have found it difficult to fly, so we started going on cruises. Last time we flew to America, over 15 years ago, they broke my wheelchair. So I'm making this documentary to show the accessibility to disabled customers, getting on and off the ship, the facilities on board, and the accessibility in each location. As you can see, we've got a lot of luggage, but if we was to fly, there'd be no chance we could take all this luggage and our equipment, hoists and shower chairs. Also, when you fly, you treat your wheelchair as luggage. The last time we flew, we broke my wheelchair. So, cruising allows me to stay in my wheelchair. All of your luggage is loaded onto the ship for you at the start of the holiday. So getting on the ship is very easy. The gangway is level and flat.
Thank you.
So this is our cabin. As you can see, it's quite big. The disabled cabins are a lot bigger than normal cabins, so there's a lot more room for wheelchairs and hoists, for all the equipment needed. And some might say it's big enough to swing that. This is the bathroom, which, as you can see, is quite big. You can fit the shower chair in, on a wheelchair, and enough room to turn around and use the shower chair and the hoist as well. This is the balcony, and there's a ramp so you can get out, and it's relatively flat and smooth. This is where I spend a lot of my time when the sun is out, with a cocktail or two. The main reason we have a balcony is because of the aircon. It gives me a bad cough as it makes your chest dry, so it's good to have some fresh air. The facilities for disabled people on board cruise ships are excellent, with hoists to get in the swimming pools and large disabled toilets on each deck. To find out more about the facilities on board cruise ships, I interviewed the hotel general manager, Alan Baker, and the captain, Stephen Howarth.
We cater for the disabled people very well, to be honest. We have ramps where we need to have ramps. We have the push buttons for the doors. Sometimes we could be a little bit better because we may have a double door. We might have a push button to get you through one door, and then you've got to manhandle the other door. So we do feed this back to, we have a committee back in our office in Southampton Carnival House. So there's a present project that we're looking at right now, and that's about pool hoist. So it started off with a ship, it's gone to the committee's looking through it, and then they're feeding it back, and we're looking at other options about hoists and pools and where they need to go and that sort of thing. Likewise for the gangway, at the moment, we will always have a designated gangway for the people who have mobility, requires mobility assistance. Sometimes that's not feasible in tender ports, so we have to take a different route, a different step there. And we're also looking at, there's another thing we're looking at the moment is crawlers, stair crawlers. For the gangway movement, so we're looking at stair crawlers. And again, the committee is looking at that. They're looking at crawlers, testing crawlers, because we got to be strong and worthy and hold the battery life. And that's what we're looking at to get you down the gangway as well.
Tender ports have always been a bit of an issue with people who've got mobility challenges. We are trying to do less and less, fewer and fewer tender ports, and the ships are being scheduled to go to places where we can mostly get alongside, and that's really important. We know that there are challenges not just for people who are confined to wheelchairs, but also to elderly people who have problems stepping down and stepping across a gap, because although we can make it as good as we can at the ship's side, there is also always a possibility that there may be some motion in the sea that makes the boat move about, and it's very difficult to gauge. Gangway wise, you'll have noticed everywhere that we've been on this cruise, we've always had something out on deck 4, so it's as level as we can get it, so you can get out very easily, or an air bridge going into deck 5 or 6, which is similarly flat and smooth.
Accessibility for wheelchairs is very good. Each deck is flat and smooth, and you can get around independently. There are automatic doors to get outside on deck 7 midship, out onto the promenade. There are automatic doors to get outside on deck 15 at the front end of the ship, which leads out to the front swimming pool. And there are also automatic doors on deck 15 midship and deck 16 at the front of the ship. There are 3 sets of elevators at the front, in the middle and at the back of the ship. All of the lifts are spacious enough to fit 2 wheelchairs. Out on the top deck there is plenty of space for wheelchairs, but as for everyone, it is often first come, first served. When the sun is out, this is where you will find me, sunbathing. When the weather is not so sunny, there is a lot to do indoors. For me, it's straight to the pub, watching football. At night, there is karaoke, which I love to take part in. There is also live music to dance along to. Here you can see myself and my friend Ben, who was on the same cruise with his family. Next up is my interview with Ben about his experience of cruising. Have you ever flown before?
Yeah, when I was younger and able to be lifted.
What do you think of the facilities on this ship?
Most of them quite good, I'd say. The rooms have been big enough for us.
What do you enjoy most about cruising?
The main thing I enjoy most is travelling and going to new places I've not been before, but places I'd like to go, because I've never had a chance otherwise.
This is Barbados, where we could walk to the beach. When we got there, we hired some sun lounges and drank some ice cold rum punches in the sun. This is Ocho Rios in Jamaica. We managed to get a taxi to the beach, where we enjoyed the sun and sampled the cocktails. New Orleans and Key West were the standout places for what they had to offer and for being highly accessible. As you can see, New Orleans has wheelchair accessible trams with a lift on the side, and then they clamp you in. We went to the French Quarter to a blues bar where we sampled the famous music and food. Before the holiday, we were told that we could get a shuttle bus to the Kennedy Space Center, and we wouldn't need to book. So we got on the bus at 10 AM, but once I was on, we were told that we had to get off, as it was fully booked, even though it wasn't. A whole 3 hours later, we finally managed to get a taxi at 1 PM. The closest wheelchair accessible one was over an hour away, and it cost $300 return between us and my friend's family. The way we were treated by one of the excursion staff who took us off the bus was out of order. The fact that they let me get on and clamped in, then to be told that we had to get back off, was very humiliating. We even offered to pay so he could stay on. They just said no, and weren't even willing to help us find any other transport. There wasn't even another wheelchair waiting once we had got off, so the shuttle bus departed with an empty wheelchair space. However, when we did eventually get to the Space Centre, we had a fantastic time, and they catered for wheelchairs really well. Inside the complex, before you go into any of the attractions, we walked through a garden of old rockets. We then went to the mission zone, where you can get up close to the iconic space shuttle Atlantis and learn all about NASA's space programs. We had to book this cruise a good 2 years in advance, in March 2016, to get the cabin that we required. We rang up to book it on the day all the cruisers came out, and we luckily got the last disabled cabin with a balcony. How is that possible? It's because disabled cabins are in such high demand. The problem is that you get disabled passengers who have mobility scooters but never use them. You see them walking all around, and I think to myself, why do they need a disabled cabin? I don't blame the cruise companies. I blame the minority of passengers who book disabled cabins just because they are bigger in size. However, Some passengers require disabled cabins as they are elderly or unsteady on their feet, so they need grab rails in the bathroom. In that case, it's fair enough. My suggestions to sort out this problem is for the cruise companies to ask for the passengers who are booking disabled cabins to send proof of their disability and receipt of disability living allowance. We send a letter from our doctor on headed paper and a letter from disability living allowance. It's the way concert venues do it, and it allows actual disabled people to get tickets. I recommend if you are planning to book a cruise, you should always look 2 years ahead to avoid disappointment. What would you say to disabled people who are unsure about coming on cruises?
I would say, come on,
I'd say it's the
give it
best
a
way,
go.
It's the best way to see the world.
It absolutely, yeah, it's brilliant. It says, come and have a look at it and give it a go.
I mean, cruising is expanding all the time. Cruising is now what package holidays were 30 years ago. And it's so immensely popular. And because of the accessibility, we're inevitably going to get more people with mobility challenges that wish to come and see the world in this way.
Would you recommend cruising to other disabled people?
Yeah, I would. As long as they research it properly and know what rooms they need and stuff. But yeah, I'd recommend it.
The only downside to cruising is the accessibility of some of the ports. Most are in walking distance, and a few have wheelchair accessible shuttle buses. But for a lot of the ports, to see the best parts each location has to offer, you need to have an excursion booked. If you don't have anything booked, you can't get anywhere. With this documentary, I hope that I've persuaded more disabled people to go on cruises. This was my 13th cruise. I have had a positive experience on each one. They have been the best holidays that we have had. I've shown how accessible it is, getting on and off the ship, getting around the ship, and what it's like in each location, good and bad. In the main, the ports were very good. They were mostly in walking distance, or there was accessible transport. I'll hopefully see you on a cruise one day. Happy cruising.